Hello friends, welcome to QApedia and this is our blog qapedia.com. Today the topic that we are going to discuss is JavaScript tutorial, data types and variables. And the subtopics that we will discuss today are data types, type of data types, type of primitive data types, type of non-primitive data types, variables, how to declare a variable, keywords for variable declaration, how to get the data type of variable, changing the value of variable, changing the type of variable, constant, problems with where keyword, identifier, rules for identifier, and then summary of the session. So let's start. Data types and variables. Data types. What is data type? It is made up of two words, data plus type, which means type of data. So we will have to understand data and we will have to understand type. So let's understand data first. Let's understand what is data. So data means information. Information about something. Now let's take an example of retail store. So when you go to a retail store like DMart or Walmart or somewhere else, then when you pick some things and go to the cash counter for billing, then the guy at the cash counter scans the item and get all the information about the product, like name of the product, quantity of the product, price of the product. Name of the product can be like tur dal, Parle-G biscuit. Quantity of the product could be 1 kg, 100 grams. Price of the product could be 200 rupees, 30 rupees, something like this. So these things are called data. Now if we see properly that some data is in text form, like tur dal, Parle-G biscuit is in text form. Some data is in number form, like 1 kg, 100 grams, 200 rupees, 30 rupees. This is in number form. So this thing is called data type, number, text. So this thing is called data type, and this is called type of data. What type of data do we have? If price of the product is number type of data, quantity is number type of data, name of the product is text type of data or string type of data. Text is also called as string. Okay, now let's see how many types of data types do we have. So there are two types of data types in JavaScript, primitive and non-primitive. Okay, primitive data type and non-primitive. So primitive are built-in data types in JavaScript like number, boolean. Non-primitive are user-defined data types like objects, arrays, functions, all that. So type of primitive data types are boolean, bigint, number, null, string, symbol, undefined. So there are 7 types of primitive data types. Now type of non-primitive data types, objects, arrays, functions. So these are some non-primitive data types. Now we understood what is data type properly. With all the examples we have understood what is data type. Now we should understand what is variable, because data types and variables are linked with each other or linked together. So let's understand what is variable. We must know that the data we were talking about or the information we were talking about needs to be stored somewhere. We have to store it somewhere. We have to store it at some location. All this information has to be stored at some location in the database. We can understand this with a real example. So when you go to a retail store and you need to buy anything, then those things should be stored somewhere or it should be available somewhere. For example, tur dal is available at third row of the grocery section of ground floor. Rice is available in the fourth row of the grocery section of ground floor. Or if you go to some restaurant and then somebody will take your order and then they will say, this is the order for table number 4. Okay, so these things like third row of grocery section, fourth row of grocery section, or table number 4, these things are name of the location. Okay, name of the location where the products are stored or where some task has to be done. Now, why do we provide some name to these sections or to these locations? And the answer is that it becomes very easy to access the products if we know the name of the location where they are stored. Okay. So same way, we need to store our data at some location in our database, and we need to give some name to that particular location, and the name of the location is called variable. Okay, that name is called variable. It becomes very easy to access the data if we store them in variables. So we can say variable is the name of location where our data is stored, and we can access our data whenever we want using variables. Now, how do we declare a variable in JavaScript? So we have to understand this with the example of some other languages like Java or C. So if we talk about other languages like Java or C, we need to mention the data type explicitly when we declare a variable. Something like this, like this is the variable, this is the name of the location where we are storing our data. So name is A. Before this, this is called variable as well, and we are writing here data type, which is int, and then we are assigning some value. Here also string B, we are writing here string, which is data type, and then we are writing the name of the variable or name of the location equals to hello. This is how we declare our variable in other languages, not in Java but in other languages. And if suppose we want to assign some different type of values to this variable, then that is not possible. Like A is a number type of data. Now if I want to assign this text type of data or string type of data into A, it is not possible because it is integer. Same way, B is string type of data. If I want to assign some different value, like different type of value like number, like 20, this is going to give us error. Okay, so let's see this with an example. So this is our online Java compiler, and what we'll do, we will try to write this program and see whether it's possible or not. So let's copy this, write it here, paste, and this should be a semicolon. Then we'll write this thing, copy. Let's run it first. So there is no problem in running. Code execution successful. Now if suppose I will write this particular code, okay, and I will try to run this now. So we are getting some error. Java 10 error, unmappable character for encoding. A is equals to Qpedia is not possible. It's not possible at all. So these types of things are not possible. So we have to understand that we have to declare uh, a variable with the data type. We have to assign it before itself, and we cannot change the type of data type of variables. But in JavaScript, we don't need to do all this. So we don't need to mention the data type while declaring a variable. We have to use some reserved keywords which are provided by JavaScript for declaring a variable. And we can change the data type of the variable in runtime as well in JavaScript. Now, the most important thing, that JavaScript is called dynamically typed language because we don't need to mention the data type explicitly when we declare a variable in JavaScript. And JavaScript is called weakly typed language because we can change the data type of the variable at runtime. Now, these two are the property of JavaScript which we discussed, are the features of JavaScript which we discussed in our first session. And I told that it might be difficult to understand in the first session, but when we'll start our session or start our next classes, then each and every feature would be clear to us. So this is a feature which we will discuss properly today. So right, so we don't need to mention a data type while declaring a variable. We have to use some reserved keywords. So what are those keywords which we have to use for variable declaration? Those are var, let, and const. Okay. Now what is var? So var is a keyword which was being used before ES6 version of JavaScript. Okay. And this keyword is used to declare variables, and it is compatible with latest versions as well. Values can be changed at runtime and data types can be changed at runtime. Only thing is that it was used in the previous version of JavaScript, and it can be used with the latest version as well because it is compatible. Then let is also a keyword. Now this is a keyword which started getting used after this particular version, after ES6 version of JavaScript. And this keyword is also used to declare variables, but it is not compatible with the previous versions, and values can be changed at runtime, same like this, and data types can be changed at runtime, same like this. So the properties of let and properties of var are almost same, and var was used before this version and let is being used after this version. So there is some problem with var keyword. That is why let keyword was introduced, and we will see what was the problem with var keyword later for sure. Then we have a keyword called const. Okay, now this keyword is used to declare constant. Now because constant, so we cannot change the value at runtime, we cannot change the data type at runtime for those things. The constant cannot be changed, they cannot change the value, they cannot change the type. Let's see the example now. Okay, now we will use let keyword to declare our variables. Fine. So in other languages like C or C++, we were saying int a equals to 10 or something. Here we won't say. In place of int, we will say let, then the name of the variable, and then whatever value we want to assign. Okay, so let's do that. Now we will do one thing. We will start our Java's VS Visual Studio Code, and we will remove this, and we will write here our code. Let a is equals to, let a is equals to null. So we'll write here a is equals to null. Now what? Let b equals to 540. So let b is equals to 540. Let's do one thing. Let's just copy all these values. Copy and then paste it here. That's it. Done. So yeah, it is done. And let's do one thing. Let's write semicolon everywhere. Here also, here also, here also, here also, and here also. So we have declared all the variables. We have given some name because we have to give some name so that we can easily access them. Why do we give names to variables? We have to give some name so that we can easily access them. Now we want to print the value of each variable. If you want to print the value, then we have console dot log, and we just have to provide the value that variable name. So first a, and then we have to provide all the variables name here. So let's copy this and we'll provide all the names. Control V. Okay, now in place of a we will write b, and here we will write c, then here we will write d, here we will write e, here we will write e, sorry, here we will write f, and then here we will write g. That's it. Now it is done. So we will just save it, save, and after saving it we will run it. What is the problem? Problem here is this with this symbol. So if suppose I will just do like this, yeah, now it is correct. There was some problem with that. And if suppose I will write it like this, then there will be no problem. Now everything is correct. Now let's just save it and let's just run it. So that's it. What is the value of A? It is null. What is the value of B? It is 540. So it is printing all the values. What is the value of C? It is true. Then 470, QA symbol, and then undefined. Now what we have to see that we have yeah, so we have used let keyword for all the variables. So because we are not using any keyword explicitly like int or string, so if we want to know the type of data type of this particular variable in JavaScript, then it's very difficult because we are using let keyword for all. So we don't know what is the data type of this particular variable. So what we can do, we can use an operator called type of. Console.log type of, just type the name of the variable and then we'll be able to know what is the type of that particular variable. So let's do that thing here. Console, no, we'll just copy it and we'll just paste it, and here we'll write, yeah, here, type of A. And let's do one thing, let's just copy it everywhere. So it is done. Now let's save it, and after saving, if suppose we will run it, and let's see what is happening. Yeah, console dot log, and yeah, now save it and then run it. Yeah, first it is printing the values of the variables, and then it is printing the type of the variable. First it is object, then number, boolean, big int, string, symbol, and then undefined. So this is how we can type the data type of any variable, and we can see that the data type for null is object, and for other things data type for 540 it is number, for true it is boolean, for this it is big int, it is a type of data type, then this is string, we have used symbol keyword, so the data type is symbol, and then undefined is undefined. So this is how we can find out the data type and the values. We can print the values and the data types of any variable. Yeah, now let's see how can we change the value of a variable. So the value of B was 540. Now we want to change it to 340. The value of C was true. We want to change it to false. Value of E was QApedia. We want to change it to hello. So just copy, and we don't need to declare it again. We can just change the value here. Again same problem. just copy and paste it here, and now we can print the value of ABCD again. Control C and then Control V. So let's just save it and we can run it again. So before it was 540, now it is printing 340. Before it was true, now it is printing false. Before it was QAPJ, now it is printing hello. So this is how we can change the value of our variables also. Now if you want to change the type of the variable, so even that is not difficult, we can do that also. It is very simple. So value of B was 340, it is a number type. We can just write string type here, it will be changed. Then value of C was false, it was a boolean type only. We can just type number here and the type of the variable will change. And if we want to check, we can check it with this code also. So let's just copy and paste it here, and here we can copy this also. Fine. Correct. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's run this code again, save and then run. What is the problem? Save and then run. What is the problem? Sorry, C should not be capital, it should be small. Here also same problem. We'll just copy pasting it. So we made this mistake. Yeah, now we have saved it and then run it. Now it will work. So we did not check the value. So B is now string and C is now number. You can see the data type is also changed. This is also done. Now constant. What is constant? Okay, so we have seen everything, and I think we can just delete this particular code also if we want. And now let's just focus on constant. What is constant? So for constant, if you want to declare, we have to use this keyword const. And one more thing, that we had used let keyword, and we can use where keyword as well in place of let. There is no difference at all, so we don't need to worry about it. You can just practice with where as well. Now let's say const. So what is a constant? So if suppose we will declare any variable with this particular const keyword, then this variable is a constant, it is not a variable. So we cannot change the value, we cannot change the data type. So let's see it. Let's just copy this. Suppose you want to print the value, console dot log, and then we can write here a, then copy and paste it here. That's it. B. Done. Now let's do one thing. Let's save it and run this code. Save, run. So it is running 10. Hello, it is printing the value. Now what we will do, we will just try to change the value. We are not changing type, we are just changing value. Let's see what happens. So just save and then go to run and run. So we got some error that we cannot change the value. Assignment to constant variable, we have some error. We cannot change the value. So cannot send variables. So for constant we cannot change values. So we have seen that. Now let's see what was the problem with where keyword and why we are using let keyword in place of where keyword. So for where keyword, what the problem, that redeclaration was allowed. Okay, and the second problem was local variable with the same name used to change the value of global variable with the same name. These two problems were there with where keyword, and that is why we are using let keyword. And because of these two problems, some bug can be introduced in the system and we cannot catch those type of bugs at compile time, and then this will be very difficult to catch that bug at runtime. So that is why we started using let keyword, and let keyword has solved those problems for us. So let's see this thing, the problems with where keyword. So let's see the first problem. Redeclaration was allowed with where keyword. This is an example where we have declared two variables, where a equals to 10, where b equals to QApedia. So this is number type and this is string type. And we can type the values of, we can print the value for both of the variables. Now we have redeclared this particular variable a, and like this. So if suppose we just want to change value for variable a, then we don't need to mention this keyword again, but we are mentioning this keyword again. That means we are redeclaring it, this particular variable. So what happens, where keyword used to allow this, and then it used to change the value of a also. So let's see this particular example. So where a is equals to 10, then where b is equals to QA Peddia console dot log a, and then we'll write console dot log b. And now let's save it and then run it. So we can see the value is 10 QAPD. Now we will do one thing, we will redeclare this variable a again, and now we will print this value again, console dot log a, and let's save it and then run it. So first it was 10, then it was QApedia, and then it is 5. So first the variable a was 10, and now the variable a is 5. But this redeclaration should not be allowed. Okay, so if we will see the same example with let, in place of where, if you will write here let, we will write here let, we will write here let. So you can see that we are seeing cannot redeclare the block scoped variable a. So this a is a block scope variable because we are using let keyword to declare it. So any variable which is declared using let keyword is called block scope variable, and block scope variable cannot be redeclared. Okay, so that's the one problem. So that's the first problem of redeclaration with where keyword. It was resolved by let keyword. So we have seen this example again with let keyword. And if suppose we want to run it, then we can do that also. Control S, and then yeah, A has already been declared, and it's called identifier. Identifier A has already been declared, and we cannot declare it again. That's it. So this first problem is solved using let keyword. Now second problem was local variable with the same name used to change the value of global variable with same names. So let's see the second problem example with an example. So this is our second problem, that local variable with same name used to change the value of global variable with same name. So let's see this problem with the example. Let's go. So right here where a is equals to 10, and then console dot log, and then print the value of a. And now write it inside a block, and inside a block we will redeclare it and we'll print the value of a again. Control C, Control V, and here also Control V. Now let's see if we will save it, what happens. Yeah, so what will happen, that this particular this was our variable, this value was a, and we printed the value as 10. After that we have changed the value, we have redeclared the variable, and this time it is inside a block. And inside a block, what value we are typing here, where a equals to 5, console.log a, and then a, we are trying to print this value inside this block, and we are trying to print this value outside the block as well. So outside the block, the value of this particular value should be printed, but even outside the block this particular value is getting printed. You can see 5 is getting printed 2 times. That's what is the meaning of it. 5 is getting printed 2 times. So let's see it with an example of let. Let's change the value and let. Here also we'll write let, and now we'll do one thing, we will save it and then we will run it. Yeah, now what is happening, the value of a is 10, so it is printing 10. Inside it's a different variable, value of a is 5. Inside the block value is 5. Again outside the block this particular value should be printed, so that value is getting printed. So this is how the second problem of where keyword has also been resolved using let keyword. So what was the problem, that local variable with same name used to change the value of global variable with same name. So this is our local variable. If suppose it is where keyword, this local variable will change the value of global variable as well, but now it is not changing if we are declaring this variable using let keyword. So we are calling it local variable, or we can call it a block variable. Inside a block variable it is, and because the scope of this particular variable is inside this block only, so that is why this let is called as block scope variable. Any variable that we declare using let is called as block scope variable. Okay, this we should remember. So we have seen everything. We have seen where keyword, we have seen let keyword, we have seen const keyword, and yeah, where, let, const are finished. And one more thing that we should remember, that we should always use const keyword, because mostly we are going to use const only. We are not going to use variable that much. Mostly we are going to use const. So mostly you try to declare your variable with const keyword. If you think that during runtime it should change its value, then you can change it back to let. That's not a problem. Now it is done. And then identifiers. Now what are identifiers? So we can see it with example. So let a is equals to 10. What is this a? This a is variable, and a is the name of variable. So this particular name is called as identifier. Identifier is the name assigned to any variable or any function or anything in our programming language, so that we can identify it, because this a is identifying this particular value, this a is identifying this particular value, same way this particular b is identifying this particular. So we can easily this particular, the name is used as an identifier, that's why it is called as identifier. Now there are some rules associated with identifiers, that names can contain letters, digits, underscore and dollar sign. If you are declaring any name or any identifier, then you can have these things in that particular name. It should begin with a letter. It should always begin with a letter, and that is the rule. It can begin with special character as well, but it cannot begin with number. And names are case sensitive, so y and y are different variables. And reserved keywords like JavaScript keywords like let, where, const, these cannot be used as name, these cannot be used as identifiers. So these are the rules that we should remember in our mind. If you want to check it, you can see it. So let let a 1 underscore 3. This, like this also we can discuss, we can declare a variable. Okay, like this also we can declare a variable. So names can contain letters, digits, underscore, dollars and anything they can contain. Then name must begin with a letter, so it has begun with a letter a. It can begin with special character as well. So if suppose here I will write underscore, so yeah, even this is allowed, but it cannot begin with a number. So if suppose I will write here 2, then this is going to give us error, right? An identifier or keyword cannot immediately follow a number. It cannot be created like this. Okay, then let's give it as let a is equals to 10, and then let capital A is equals to 5. So both are different, right? JavaScript is case sensitive, identifiers are case sensitive, so y and y will be different. Same way the small a and capital A is also different. Okay, it's not giving any error to us. Then reserve keywords like JavaScript keywords cannot be used as name. So let's try to do that. So let where is equals to 10. It is giving us error that we cannot use it as a variable name, or we cannot use it as an identifier. So these are some rules for identifiers. This we should remember. Now let's see the summary of the session. So we have covered some below topics in today's session: data types, types of data types, variables, how to declare a variable, keywords for variable declaration, how to get data type of a variable, changing the value of variable, changing the type of variable, constant, problems with where keyword, and then identifier, and then rules for identifiers. So these are the things that we have discussed in today's session. So that's it in the session. Thank you very much, guys.